So let's see how to do ALV row coloring and column coloring. ALV row coloring and column coloring. Okay, so let us develop a report which has to display the data in ALV format, and in that I have to do the row coloring based on certain conditions. Okay, so let's see how to do it. So see the process here. So I'll choose Webdynpro component. Right, so I'll go for 20. ALV row and column coloring. I'll give the window name underscore window. Let me give the view name as V1. I'll save it in the local object. Right, so what is the requirement? We have to display the data in ALV format. So what data I want to display is, I want to display sales order data. So I'll go for what? VBAK node. Okay, I'll go for VBAK node. And already we know in ALV reporting, whatever the data, whatever the final node data that you want to display in ALV format should be available at what level? Component controller level, so that we can do what? External context mapping. Okay, so see here, as part of component controller, let me create a context node. Since I want to display sales order data, I'll give the node name as VBAK underscore node. So far we are referring to what? Dictionary structure. But now I will not refer to dictionary structure, because if I refer to the dictionary structure GCVBAK, what are the fields we are having? Some four fields we are having. Weblen, date, time, and what? Year, NAM. But now what is the requirement at the end? We have to do the coloring based on what? Condition. Based on the date, I have to do some row coloring. So I need to take one additional attribute. You can give this name as any name. You can give any name, but this should be of type. This should be of type WDUI underscore table underscore cell underscore design. Okay, so let me check for that data element. I'll just cancel this. I'm not creating the node. I'll go to ABAP dictionary and check whether we have any what data element of this sort. WDUI underscore table underscore cell underscore design. So I'll go for this. Yeah, Webdynpro table cell design. It's a data element given by what? SAP. Domain is also same name. What is the data type here? Numcia of what? 2. Numcia of what? 2. So here we have to give we have to give cell design. So you can see here we have different values at what? Domain level. We have different values at domain level. I mean to say different colors are there. Color IDs. All these are what? Color IDs. Aqua color, blue color, brown. Understood? So you can use appropriate color coding. Understood? So why I am not going to refer to dictionary structure? If I refer to dictionary structure, I'll have only what? 4 fields. But I want one additional field which is responsible for holding the color code depending on the condition. That's the reason I will create these fields manually one after the other. Okay, so as part of component controller, I'll create the empty node. I'll give the node name as VBAK underscore node. I'll not refer to any dictionary structure. Since this node is going to hold multiple records, I'll give the cardinality as what? 0 to n. That's all. A blank node I created. Now under this node, I'll create the attributes one by one. So right click on the node, create attribute. I'll give the attribute name Weblen. Type data element is what? Weblen underscore VA. Then again, right click on the node, create attribute. I'll give the attribute name as ERDAT. Type ERDAT. Then right click on the node, create attribute. I'll give the attribute name as ERZET. Type ERZET. Then right click on the node, create attribute ERNAM. Type ERNAM. Then I'll take another attribute. You can give any name. I am giving it as what? Color. Okay. Type. What is the type here? WDUI underscore table underscore cell underscore design. In our ALV reporting, we use character of 4. Hmm? Type here, what I have to give? Data type or data element. Why I am referring to data element is this data element is having domain, which is having that values. Na? I can associate that value. If I directly give num_c, you will not have a link. That's the reason I am going for what? The data element. Anyhow, internally the data type is what? Num_c only. Okay, continue. Right, so I took an additional attribute. Done, save it, check it. So this is the first thing you have to do. So node is ready. Then we need to what? Display the data in what format? ALV format. So what I have to do as part of our view, we need to take a view container. Na? I have to take a view container because I have to hold what? External window. So right click on this, insert element. Okay, I'll say before that, here anyway I require the node here also. When you are writing the code, I require the node. So I'll just do the internal context mapping first. I'm mapping it to the view level. Done. Then I'll go to the layout, insert element. I'll give vcont. Let me give the type as what? View container UI element. So this is a view container UI element. Done. Okay, view container UI element. Okay. Next what you have to do, as part of view container you have to embed the external view. So what you have to do for that, as part of component you have to include the standard component. What is that? Make clear, otherwise if you go to window level, this view contains what? View container. When I'm trying to embed the external view, it will not show. It will show only what? Internal views. I want the external window to be embedded. That's the reason. First include the component at what? Component level. What is the standard component for ALV? SALV table. I'll use some component usage name. Component usage got created. Now go to the window level. As part of view container, right click, embed view. View to be embedded. Always what? Table. Always table. Just choose this, continue. Right, so external window is what? Embedded. External view will be embedded. Let it embed. It got stuck. Let me just. I'll go to SM12. Let me remove the lock. Webdynpro component 20. Okay, let me check. It's created here. Done. Then I'll go to the view level. Is it mapped here first? Yes, it is mapped. I took the view container and view is embedded to what? Window. And as part of this, done. Before that, I have to include the standard component I have included. Now at the window level, right click on the view container. It is in display mode. Right click on the view container, embed view. View to be embedded. Browse this. What is that? Table. Continue this. Yeah, it is what? Embedded. View table is embedded in the container, so and so. Done. Then what you have to do? Yes. What is the other setting? Under component usage, under what? Interface controller. We have to map what? Our node with what? Data node. So I'll go to controller usage. Okay, in the component controller, this is the node available. Map your node with what? Data nodes. Done. It is mapped here. Let me save. Check it. No errors. Let me create the application. So SAP knows what fields has to be displayed in the ALV format, but the data is not yet ready. Let me create the application. Create Webdynpro application underscore app 20. I'll save it. Let me activate the component. Component is activated. Let me execute this. Yeah, you can see now I got the ALV grid, but without any what? Data. Am I clear? Now I need to display the data. So what is the first method called? WD2 init. So let me call the WD2 init. So you can see 5 columns are shown. Actually, for the user perspective, I should not show this color. Understand? I should not show this particular color. So let me just close this. So what is the method I need to implement? WD2 init. So double click on this. I'll go to WD2 init method of the view. Yeah, done. So what is the first step I have to do? I have to get the some default what? Default sales orders. Get the default sales orders. I require an internal table. So data t under is the context is available here. Yes, already we have done the internal context mapping. Data t underscore vbak type wd underscore this of what? Elements underscore vbak node. Get the data. Select webland date time and name from vbak into table. Internal table is t underscore vbak. I'll just give some select query like up to what? Something 20 rows. Up to 20 rows. If size of ours is equal to 0. Okay, so actually this internal table is having how many columns? 5 columns. We are getting the data only for what? 4 columns. So size of ours equal to 0. What I have to do? As usual, get the reference of the node vbak underscore node data context underscore vbak node type ref2. What is the interface? If underscore w underscore context underscore node. I'll use the pattern wd underscore what? Context. If wd context node get child node. Get child node. Name of the node is wd underscore this of what? Wd context underscore vbak underscore node receiving. Let us receive inside what? Context underscore vbak nodes. Done. Then what else? If if context underscore vbak underscore node is what bound is bound. Okay, I need to bind what sales orders, bind sales orders. Done. So here I'll say context underscore vbak node of what bind underscore table. What is the internal table? T underscore vbak. Done. So the internal table is having 5 columns, but we are getting the data only for what 4 columns. Okay, so when I refresh now, when I re-execute, yeah, you can see. Understood. We are having the data for what this 4 columns. If you are having the additional fields of type internal tables, you'll get it. But here internal table nahi hai na. What are the additional field I took? It is only what numc. If this additional field is of type internal table, then I should take temporary internal table, all those things. But this is a normal data type only na. It is not a what? It is a flat data type. Flat means integer, character, string, date, time, numc, all those things. If it is of type internal table, okay, then you'll what? Get what? Error. So at that time, I should take one more internal table with only what? 4 columns. First get the data into that, then loop it and transfer it to what? Final. Here I don't require because it's a normal data. So here we got the output here. If you observe the output, we got the output, and here what I have to do here, I have to provide what construct what color value. So I want to construct the color value based on what date, based on the date. So what I'll do is, let me just slightly change the code up to, I'll say 40 rows, up to 40 rows. So I want to color it based on what date. Okay, so once again if I execute, so if the date is 21/1/1997, I want to use some color. If the date is 22/1/1997, some other color. If the date is 23, some other color. If it is 24, some like this. Depending on what date condition, I want to set the color coding. So see the simple technique. So if size of r equal to 0, what I'll do, construct what color coding based on what, based on what date condition. Make clear, construct color coding based on date condition. Now what I'll do, I need to loop this internal table, and inside the loop I have to set the color coding, and I have to use modify statement. Okay, I don't want to use modify statements. I'll use field symbol work area. So I'll say field symbols, I'll give something fs like what, line of what t underscore vbak. Understood? I declared a field symbol work area. Now what I'll do, loop at t underscore vbak assigning. Whenever we use field symbol work area, we have to use what, assigning fs, then what, end loop. Here I'll say if what, fs hyphen, what is the condition, er d8 is equal to, what is the date condition, 1997-01 and what 22. If the date is what 1997-01-22, the date which is there in the ALV report. Okay, what I'll do, fs hyphen, what is the additional field I took, color equal to. So already we have the color codings here now. Okay, so I'll go for what 24, 23, something like that. Okay, so I'll say color coding equal to something 24, else if fs hyphen what erdat is equal to what 1997-01-23, I'll say fs hyphen color equal to, I'll set some other color coding. Okay, 24 I've used, 27 I'll use calendar yellow, it seems. Okay, calendar yellow. 27 I'll use, else if If the date is 24, I'll use some other color. I'll use something blue. Blue, what is this? 61. Okay, I'll use 61. 61. If it is other than these conditions, I'll say fs-color is equal to, I'll set some other color. I'll say what color underscore what? Gold. What is it? 73. 73, and I'll use what? Ended. So since I used field symbol work area, I need not use what? Modify statement. Any changes you make to the field symbol work area will automatically reflect the corresponding record in the body of the internal table. So let me execute this. No syntax error. Done. So when I execute test, am I getting the color coding there? Good. Oh, right. Achha, 21 is also there. Huh? Okay, I'll set this as 21, this as 22, this as 23. Okay, so let me save it, check it, activate. Done. So you can observe when I refresh, yeah, you can see other than 21, 23, what is the color coding I got? 73. For 21, I got what? Some 24. And for 22, I got 27. And for 23, I got 61. Other than this, again, I got what? 73. Is it clear? So if you want to add one more condition there, 24, let me take one color. 54, I'll take indigo, it seems. Done. Okay, so but I don't want the color coding to be displayed on the layout. Very clear? What should happen? The corresponding color should reflect here. Okay, so that is what the logic you have right now. Is it clear? So before displaying the data, I am able to construct the color coding based on what? Date condition. Here if I use normal work area, again I have to use what? Modify statement, modify internal table from work area. So I don't want modify inside the loop, that's why I went for field symbol work area. Any questions so far? Any questions? So what is the next requirement here? We have to change the appearance of our ALV what report. Depending on the color coding, the background color should be set. Okay. So as usual, just like for select option, what we did, as of now, we included the component only at what level? Component level. Now I'll go to the view level. I will include that standard component as part of what? View properties. As part of view properties. So that two methods gets generated. Na? One is CPUs and there is what? CPI FC. Okay, so as part of my view properties, I'll include both those entries. I'll click on what? Create controller usage. There are two entries related to that included component. Include it one by one. Yeah. So done. So you can see here, both of them got what? Included. Right? Both of them got included. Done. Now you can observe those two methods. If you go to the local interface, we'll have WD CPUs and what? WD CPI FC. CPUs and what? CPI FC. So same thing. So what I have to do now here, just see the technique. See the technique here. Here, after constructing the color coding, we are getting the reference all those things. Now, see the step. Here I have to say what you have to do for select option. What is the procedure you have followed? Instantiate the used component. How do we do it? You have to call the method what? WDCP use. Then we have to check whether the component is active or not. Otherwise, you have to create it. Then you have to get the reference of what? Interface control. So here also, what is the first step here? Instantiate the what? Used component. What is the used component name I give? ALU. What is the method I have to call? CP use method. WD underscore CP use underscore component usage name. When I call this method, what does it return? It returns the object of which interface? If WD what? Component usage. They are also same thing. So here data O underscore component underscore usage type ref2 if underscore WD underscore component underscore usage O underscore component usage is equal to, since it is an instance method, I need to call it by using the object. What is that? WD underscore this of what? WD underscore CPUs underscore what is the component usage name? ALU. Understood? So we got the reference of the component usage. Then what you have to do, if O underscore CMP underscore USG is what? Is what? Bound. What you have to do, check whether used component is what active. Okay, so how do you check it? If you go to this interface, if WD component usage, already we have seen this. We have a method what? As active component, which returns what? Boolean, which returns a boolean. So here also same thing. If O underscore CM, it's an instance method. UHG of method as active underscore component. Okay, if O underscore as active component is what? Initial, in the sense what? If it is not active, what you have to do? Yes, create the what? Component. How do you create the component? In the same interface, we have a method what? Create underscore what? For select option also we are doing what? Same thing. Create component. Done. End if. Okay. Next, after this, what you have to do? Instantiate the what? Interface control. Same thing what you have done for what? Select option. How do we instantiate? You have to call the another method wd underscore cpi fc. When you call that, it returns the interface, it returns the object of which interface? IWCA underscore SALV underscore WD underscore table. There it is what? IWCA underscore WDR underscore select underscore options. Here it is IWCA underscore SALV underscore WD underscore table. So I'll say data O underscore interface underscore controller type ref2 what? IWCA underscore SALV underscore WD underscore table. I'll use that O underscore interface underscore controller equal to WD underscore this of what? WD underscore CPIFC underscore component usage name. So I'll get the reference of what? Interface controller. Now the rest of the step there, what you are doing? We are initializing the selection screen, creating the range table, adding the selection field. Here, if O underscore interface underscore controller is not, is what? Is what? Bound. If it is bound, okay, the next step you have to do is get the reference of what? ALV table. Get the reference of ALV table. So how do you get the reference of, again these are common. How do you get the reference? I got the object of which interface? IWC underscore SLV underscore WD table. So if you go to that, There it is what? WDR underscore select option. What is the method we called? Init selection screen. Here IWD underscore, what is the interface name? SALV underscore WD underscore table. In this standard interface, there is a method. What is this method? Get model. Yeah, get model. What is this method here? Instance method. So get model, what does it do? It returns the object of which class? CL underscore SALV underscore configured table. So I'll say data o underscore config table type ref to what? CLSLWD config table. I'll directly use it. O underscore what? Config underscore table is equal to, what is the interface reference? Controller reference. Controller of, what is the method name? Get underscore what? Mod. Okay, so up to this is common. Up to this is common for any kind of ALV requirement. Now onwards. Okay, these four steps are what? Common. Okay, so what is the four steps? First you have to instantiate the used component, check whether it is active or not, otherwise you create it, then get the reference of interface controller. Using that reference, get the reference of the table by using what method? Get model. Now what you have to do is, after this, if o underscore config, if o underscore, or else directly I'll do it here. If o underscore what? Config underscore table is what? Bound. Is bound. What I have to do? I have to change the appearance of all those columns. No? Okay, so if it is bound, get the reference of all ALV what? Columns. Get the reference of all the ALV columns. How do you get? See here, in the previous step, when I call get model, I got the object of this class. Now we have received it. What is the purpose of receiving? After receiving, you can call further method. So if I double click on this class, this config table class contains many methods. So let me double click on that. Yeah. Okay. Configuration of what? ALV output. In this class, there is a method. There is a method get underscore what? Columns. There is a method called as what? Get underscore columns. What is this method? Instance public. I can call it by using what? Object. What is the object I got in the previous step? O underscore config underscore table. So it is a method of a interface. What does it do? Returns the objects of what? All columns. See the signature? I'll put the cursor, go to parameters. What does it do? It is returning what? Internal table. If you have T in between, you have to understand that is what? Internal table. So it is returning me the internal table of this type. So let me receive it. So I'll say data T underscore columns. What is that? Type. This one is a type so and so. Okay. So I'll use the pattern. Yeah, what is that? O underscore what? Config underscore table. What is the class? CL underscore. What is the class? CL underscore SALV underscore WD underscore config table. Browses. What is the method I have to call? Get underscore what? Columns. Oh. Again it got stuck. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. Sorry. Shikhar, నేను కాల్ కట్ చేస్తాను. It got stuck again, so I'll just go to this SM12. Let me release the lock again. C80, this only. Now in the init method, did I saved all those things? I have to check. Oh, okay. Get the reference of what? All ALV columns. So data, what is this? T underscore what? Columns. Type. What is the type there? This one, na? SALV underscore WD underscore so and so. So I'll use a pattern. O underscore what? Config underscore table. What is the class? CL underscore SALV underscore WD underscore config underscore table. Browses. What is the method I have to call? Get columns. Oh, again it got stuck. Now I got it. What is the method? Get underscore what? Columns. Get underscore columns. Continue. Yeah. There is some code generated. T underscore what? Calls. Understood? So get the reference of ALV table, then get the reference of what? All the columns. Done. Okay. Next step is, what is this if here? If size sub r is equal to 0, no. This loop is over. Yeah, if it is bound, we already closed it. Already closed it. Closed it. Yeah, I don't require this. Yeah, done. Now, if t underscore columns is what? Not initial, it is an internal table. Na? Understood? It is returning me what? Returning me the table type. It is internal. If I double click on this, it is a table type basically. Yeah, it is a table type associated with the line type what? So and so. Okay, so let me declare a work area for looping that. So here I'll say what? Set color what? Coding. How do you set means? Let me declare a work area. Here only let me declare the work area. I'll say W underscore call like what? Line of what? T underscore column. So I will loop it. It's a table type. Loop at T underscore columns into what? W underscore call end loop. So each record will come to this particular work area. Right? It will come to this work area. What are the fields in this? If I double click on this, yeah, ID is there and R underscore column is there. Okay. R underscore column itself is the object of what? Some other class. So see the technique here. Okay. R underscore column is a object of some other class. When I double click on this class has got some methods. Okay. One of the method is, I forgot that, set underscore cella. Yeah. One of the method is what? Set underscore cell design what? Field name or sets a field with a column color, sets the background color of the column. Okay. Set underscore cell underscore what? Design. Instance what? Public. See the parameter of that? Yeah, value. It is a what type? Yeah, it is a cell design. Done. Okay. So set cell design. What about this one? Okay, I'll go for this one. Set cell design field name. So see the technique here. Yeah, I'll say what w underscore call hyphen, what is the reference, r underscore column. Observe here carefully, we are looping it. When you loop, each record is of type this one. Under that, what is the field we have? R underscore column, which itself is the object na. So using that, I'll use the arrow pointer. Arrow pointer, what is the method I need to call? What is the method in this? Just now we have seen set cell design, what, field name. Set cell design field name. So I'll just call the method set cell design field name. What is the parameter for this? Value type what? String. So here I'll say value equal to, in our case, what is the field which is holding the color coding? Additional field I took color na. Done. That's it. Over. Hope it will work. Let me check. Let it come, then I'll explain. No, I'm getting a syntax errors. Why? No syntax errors. Done. Activate this. Okay, let me activate the whole component. When I execute, good. Right, so we are able to get some what color. So if you see the color here, if it is 2 1 what, so and so, the color is what, different. If it is other I didn't get the condition for this, else I said. So I got what is the color coding? 73 I got some background color, and for 21 I got something. For 21 date I got something. Scroll down. Yeah, for 22 you can see color is getting changed na? Okay, so color is getting what, changed. Okay, so here if you observe, and for blue I gave, so I got some blue color, and I get some purple. Yes, color is getting what, change. I gave yellow. Okay, working fine. Okay, working fine here. So let me debug and explain. I'll put the breakpoint. Yeah, refresh. It is going to wd do init method. So in the wd do init method, what is the internal double? I declare t underscore vbak, which has got how many columns? 5 columns. Weblen, date, time, and color is numsy of what? 2. Okay, done. Now when I say F5, I got how many records? 40 records. See the entries? I got the 40, but color coding default is what? 0 0. For all the records I got what? 0 0 here. Okay, now I have to set what? Color coding based on what? Date, based on the date condition. So I am looping it. How many times this will loop? 40 times. 40 times. I'm not interested to debug all the things. I'll put the breakpoint directly here. What happened? Oh, this is not executable statement. No, okay, right. Just I'm setting the breakpoint here. This is a declaration. I cannot set the breakpoint. Okay. Now I'm not interested to debug this 40 times. So I'll say F8. Yeah, control is stopping there. 1 second. Yeah. 1 second. So I have clicked something else there. Where is that here? No? Yeah, you can see the control is coming here. Okay, so it has looped it how many times? 40 times. So if you see this, what that loop has done, it has constructed the what, color coding. So directly I'm skipping that 40 iterations. I set that runtime breakpoint. So color coding is what, set. Okay, done. But what should happen? It should reflect the output na. So for that you have to follow this process. First I'm instantiating the used component. I got the object. If it is bound, I'm checking whether it is active or not. If it is not active, I'm creating the component. It has created. Then we are getting the reference of what? Interface controller. As of now, it is initial. When I say F6, I got the reference. I got the reference of that particular interface controller. Next, if it is bound, I'm getting the reference of the ALV table. It is initial as of now. When I say F6, I got the reference of the ALV table. Done. After this, if it is bound, what I am doing here, I am getting the reference of all the columns. So it is going to return with the internal table. If you see t underscore calls, as of now it is what? Zero entries. So when I call this method, what is that method? Get columns. Returns the references of what? All the columns. So when I say F6, how many I got? 5. Because we are having what? 5 columns. Check this. T underscore Veblen. This is a reference of what? Veblen. This is a reference of ERDAT, reference of ERDAT, all those things. So what we did here, inside this, I'm looping it. How many times loop? 5 times. Each reference will come to what? Work area. Na? So if you see the work area, W underscore call hyphen what? R underscore what? Column. If you see this one, when I say F5, yeah, I got the reference of the column pointing to what? Veblen. We are the first entry. So using that Veblen reference, understood? Overall, it has got 5 references. What is the first reference? Pointing to what? Veblen. The ID is different. You can observe. The ID is what? Object ID is what? Different. So using that reference, I am calling which method? Set cell design field name. So what you are setting there? Color coding. Na? Value code what? The name of the field which is holding what? Color coding. So that color will be set in. This is loop for how many times? 5 times. So I'm not interested here. So F8, I got the so. So how do you do the row coloring? Means simple understanding. First you have to you have to perform those steps. You have to include that standard component at what? View level. Two methods gets generated. What are they? WD CPUs and WD underscore CPI FC underscore component UC name. Then we have to instantiate the used component by calling the method WD CPUs. Then check whether the instantiated component is active or not. That is done by checking the method is as active component. If it is not active, you have to create the component by using create component. If you don't do that 2 steps, you'll get what? Runtime error saying that there is no active component. Then you have to get the reference of the interface controller. Then using that reference, get the reference of the ALV table. Using that reference, get the reference of ALV columns. Using that internal table, you have to loop each reference and set the color coding for each field. Okay. So I got the output like this. We are able to do the row coloring. I want to do column coloring. So simple adjustment you can do here. If you want to do column coloring, yeah, somewhere here, yeah, here, if what? W underscore column, if you see these references here, observe, in this, yeah, in this, what is that method? One of the field is what? ID, ID. So I'll say here I'll say if what? W underscore call hyphen what? ID equal to, I want to call color only Veblen. So if it is Veblen, then do this. See the change now. See the change when I execute now. Oh, so you can see the change. What happened? Only what? Column coloring. Only particular column is what? Colored. Am I clear? Just by giving that particular if condition. In our ALV reporting, we do it at field catalog level. Emphasize. Emphasize. Okay. So if I don't give that if condition, it will reflect what? All the columns. That is the only change. This one, ID equal to Veblen. This is for what? Column coloring. That's it. So this is the process for what? Column coloring and what? Row coloring. So what I mean to say is, any of this logic is self-explanatory. Up to this, from here, instantiating the used component, all these things is common now onwards. Up to which point? Yeah, up to this point. For any ALV requirement, Up to this is what? Common. What is that common? Instantiate, check whether it is active or not, otherwise you create it, then get the reference of what? Interface controller, then get the reference of what? ALV table. Up to this is common. After this it slightly changes. Okay, what are the changes? I want to what? Show this column as what? A button. Okay, or I want to show the column as hyperlink, or I want to show the what column as drop down. So just slightly we have to change the code, those things. Okay, anyhow, I'll take another 2 3 ALV examples, then you'll understand what are the changes you require. But up to this is what? Common. If you feel this as difficult to understand, see here, I'll just comment everything here. I'm commenting everything. See here. What I have to do first? I have to include that used component at what level? View level. Two method gets what? Generated. Now I'll go to what? Code wizard. General. Okay. So just observe this. Method call in current controller, and what is this? Method call in what? Used controller. So let me choose method call in used controller. Browse this. Okay, I'm choosing this. Here method name, browse this. Method name, you can see we have what? Get underscore what? Model. I'll call this. Yeah, just observe here what it has done automatically. It got the reference of what? Interface controller. Using that reference they're calling what? Get model, which returns the object of what? This class. And earlier two steps how you can do? Go to again what? Code wizard. Here we have what? Instantiate what? Use component. So browse this. What is the use component name? ALV, and just do this. Okay, what they are doing here? They're calling what? CPUs. Then they are checking what? As active component, create component, so on. So okay. So I repeat once again. If you feel writing that code is little complex, what you do is in every ALV requirement, after including that standard component at what? View level, just see this. Here, first what you do is go to wizard. First step what you have to do? Instantiate what? Use component, browse this, provide that component usage name, whatever is there. Give it. Two statements get generated. What is that? One is CPUs as active component and what? Create component. Then after this again go to what? Code wizard. Method call in what? Use controller component name. What is the use component? This one in a ALV. And here browse this. What is the method you have to call? Get underscore what? Model. Continue. So here you can see first they are calling which method? CPI FC, which is the reference of what? Interface controller. Using that reference you have to call what? Get model. But the rest of the steps you have to do. I can't use wizard for that. Okay, so that's the reason. Just instead of remembering that wizard steps, try to remember the steps like this. Instantiate, check whether it is active or not, get the reference of the interface controller, then using the reference, get the reference of ALV table. Remember in that way. Interview point of view also, you have to tell those terminologies only. Okay, how do we interact with the ALV in the runtime means this is the flow you have to tell. Done? Okay, so tomorrow what I'll do is, tomorrow we'll see another example on ALV reporting. There, I require at least 2.5 hours time. So if I'm having time tomorrow, I'll take tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll take other example on ALV. So what I want is interactive reporting. Multiple what? Interactive reporting. So here I have to display the column as hotspot. Here I have to display the column as what? Button. Here I have to display the column as what? Drop down. So based on my interaction, the further views should be what? Displayed. So it's a what? A lengthy object that we'll discuss tomorrow if I'm spending 2 hours. Otherwise, I'll take another example at what? ALV, which I can complete in 1 hour. Acha, okay. Again, customer may say that he don't want to see that what? This is only for our purpose. I have to remove this particular column. So I need to check how to remove. Okay. Simple understanding. To get the references of columns in the config table class, what is the method I'm using? get columns. In the same config table class, in the same config table class, let me go back. In the same config, get columns will return the reference of all the columns. Particular column means you may have get column. If you want a reference of particular column means yes, get column. Yeah, I can see what is this. Delete column. Deletes the object of a column. Instance public na? Okay. Instance public. What is the signature of this? ID. Might be name of the what? Column. So what I'll do after setting the color. So where is that? Yeah, here. Hmm. What is that? Delete the what? Color coding column from what? Display. So I'll go to pattern, abap objects pattern, yeah, same class. Everything will be in the same class. What is the method I have to call? Delete underscore what? Column. Yeah, id is equal to what is the additional column name? Color. Huh? So I'll just give color. Done. Done. So this is the way you have to do R&D. ID is a
string zero is coming. What is
where string zero?
go to that class.
Type string. String.
Okay, but when we set the column hyphen ID before that was some class CLS table.
Here. Huh?
Yeah, it is comment you have call ID.
Huh.
Call ID.
Huh.
You do that. In that
Yeah, that
class.
structure. If you see this, what is the method we are calling? Get columns. Huh? Get columns. What does it do? Returns with the internal table. I am looping this internal table into the work area of this type. This work area contains the fields. What is this? ID.
Length is zero means like string.
Huh?
Data type string length zero.
String means what? Unlimited, na?
Yeah.
So they cannot give length. What is the meaning of string? Unlimited. No limit. That's why they give the length as zero.
So zero means unlimited.
Unlimited. No, you should not think like that. Think of this one. String is there. That's for string only, it will show it as what? Zero. If it is character of 100, you will get 100 here. Unlimited number of characters. String. Okay, so obviously will not have what? Decimals. Okay, so what I'll do is today, yeah, probably today only, I'll try to share the recordings in the Google Drive. I'll draw. Last week I've shared anything. Last week I've shared now for everyone. Did I share the recordings of last week in the Google Drive? Online, can you please respond? Online, hope everyone is active. Huh, I've shared, na? Okay, okay. So probably today, once I convert this recording, I may not convert today. Till yesterday, whatever I have discussed, if possible, this one also, I'll try to share it in the Google Drive. Tomorrow also, we'll have the class, okay, and we'll see another example on what? ALV. Done? So this is again a never-ending process. ALV. We can implement whatever you want: row coloring, column coloring, cell coloring, cell displayed as button, cell displayed as hyperlink, cell displayed as drop down. Okay, and adding toolbar buttons, enabling the buttons, disabling the buttons, or whatever you want, you can do it. Okay, process would be what? Same. Anyway, I'll cover 2 3 examples, then you'll understand the entire flow. Okay, so I'll wind off now. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll discuss other examples.
When we declare the internal table in bacteria, sometimes we take the type and sometimes we take the like. What is the difference? Like means already we have.
Yeah, online I'm winding off. We'll continue tomorrow.